Hi everyone, I just wanted to go through some of the features that are new in the Puma 6.1 release that we codenamed The Way Up. The highlights that you probably saw in the release notes are WebSocket support via the new partial hijack feature available in Rack. Systemd has now been support has now been first partied, so you no longer have to install a gem. We enhanced what Systemd does a little bit, and then we've got a new config option which lets you return 413s and new Puma debug functionality and reducing memory usage for file uploads. So I want to go through each of these really quickly. With WebSocket support, this is something that's been kind of cooking for a little bit. We've had an issue in some previous attempts open at trying to imagine what quote unquote native WebSocket support for Puma might look like. And basically, the way that this works today with Rack was pointed out quite nicely in the Rack issue for which I don't have up um, for adding partial hijack streaming support to Rack. And this work was done by IOquatic's Samuel Williams from the Falcon server. So basically, before that was added to the Rack spec, you used to do WebSockets in a Rack application by Rack basically just handing the application the socket object and saying, do whatever you want to it. And this was kind of unsafe because it meant that the two parts of the application couldn't really work with that at the same time, because Puma basically had to hand you the socket and then say, you do whatever you need to do with this. And at that point, it's not even really a Rack application. It's like just like almost like a hack to like let you out of the Rack world and let you do whatever you want to the socket, which is kind of not the point of Rack. The point of Rack is to abstract that away from you. So Samuel came up with a nice API to make this a little bit nicer and more less hacky, and has called it a streaming body. So once we merged in the streaming body support, it was kind of just a simple next step implemented by Dentarg in Puma to make that then work with WebSockets. So now that is available. So what this means for you as a user basically is it is now easier to build WebSocket powered applications on top of Rack, on top of Puma and Falcon, because Falcon implements the exact same API now. I don't believe Unicorn or Passenger implemented this. So probably no big change for you. It'd be nice to see Action Cable use this new API, I guess. I don't believe they've done that yet. But anybody writing libraries that uses WebSockets should probably be using this new Rack API that has been made possible. Second thing we did was vendored this Systemd gem that we've been using in the past to make Systemd notify work. Basically, what convinced me was Mike Param already did it, so that's good enough for me. And thanks to Joao Marcos for making that happen. We also enhanced our Systemd support thanks to QWYNG for there's a status line in Systemd. Now we report that status line properly to Systemd. And Cheyenne J. I'm not going to get there's. I mean, do we really pronounce GitHub usernames anyway? But anyway, now you can with a new config setting, you can return a 413 response in response to a payload that's too big. You could already do this if you had Nginx or some other reverse proxy in front of Puma, but we always try to support the no reverse proxy use case. So we don't want you to have to use Nginx or Apache or something in front of Puma to get it to work. So this HTTP content length limit setting will be useful to people that have to accept uploads and don't use Nginx in front of Puma. Finally, we have a lot of issues kind of flying around the Puma tracker all the time with the restart support that we have. And one of the things that really messes with restarts and upgrading gem versions during restarts is C extensions, and we've had problems with this in the past. So Dentarg added a new, I actually think Greg implemented this. It was Dentarg's issue to load all the C extensions that you have. To log all the loaded C extensions that you've got. So this will help us in debugging debugging issues around C extensions use in Puma. So that closes out the features, and finally we had kind of one bug /perf /refactor, whatever you want to call it, from, I believe, first-time contributor Will Kohler. And he noticed he had pretty high memory usage when he was looking at his getting some big file uploads. In his case, a 100 megabyte file, and basically just changed. The code changing here is actually super simple. The line numbers are a little bit misleading because I think it was mostly documentation in the benchmark he added. Yeah, the actual change here was really just to add a read buffer that we are writing to instead of not doing that. And that took off like 20% of his memory usage when uploading a 100 megabyte file. So, not going to like blow anybody's mind or change anybody's world or anything, but it's always nice to have less memory usage in your Puma application, because it means you can usually spend less money. So that wraps up Puma 6.1. And while I've got you here, I want to let you know that Puma and the Puma team will be at various conferences coming up in the next 6 months. I'll personally be at all these. I'll be at RubyConf Australia with Juanito Fatas in February, and RailsConf I'll be at in April, and then Ruby Kaigi in May with our Puma contributor Shohei Uemoto. So that is the Puma group, Puma contributors and team conference schedule for the next 4 or 5 months, and hope to see you there at those conferences. Please find me or Juanito or Shohei if you have questions about or problems or anything we can help with using Puma. So thanks for being a user. Thanks for watching this video.